Or are we not doing that anymore? All right. We call this meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. on July 20th, 2022. So I'll rise to the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Or are we not doing that anymore? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Call this meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. on July 20th, 2022. And to the rise to the Pledge of Allegiance for all. Are we not? Can I get a roll call, please, sir? I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Ms. Combs.
Present.
Call this meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. on July 20th, 2022.
Mr. Swayze.
Here. Can I get here? Brings us to 3.0 modification approval of agenda. I'd like to make a motion to modify the agenda by removing agenda item 5.3. We're not ready for it yet.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Any other motions to modify the agenda? Call for the vote, please, sir.
Ms. Combs.
Aye.
Mr. Lippert, aye. Mr. Swayze.
Aye.
Mr.
Aye. Motion carries. Agenda is approved. It looks like we do not have anyone that signed up to speak at open forum. So that brings us to 5.0 consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent
Thank you,
agenda.
Mrs. Combs. Do I have a second? I'll second. Call for the vote, please, sir.
Ms. Combs.
Aye.
Mr. Lippert, aye. Mr. Swayze.
Aye. Aye, motion carries. Consent agenda is approved. That brings us to board member comments. Mr. Swayze.
Thank you. I was going to ask you if I could go first. I would like to clarify last month. I have no ill will towards anybody in this district. I love all my teachers. I love all the admin, everybody in this district. My vote had nothing to do with an individual. My vote was for our budget. I disagree with our budget. I still disagree with our budget. And I want nobody feeling their feelings hurt like I don't like them. I love everybody. I have nothing against you guys. Teachers, admin, none of you. 8 years ago, before I got on this board, this district was hurting big time. We had way too many chiefs and not enough Indians. We couldn't even teach the students. Students were getting punished because people were idiots and had superintendent. We had all these D licenses. Everything was ridiculous. That's why I ran for this position. And I don't care if I step on your toes, if it's to save this district or this budget. I don't believe in the way we did the budget. I still disagree with it. My vote's not against an individual. Never has been, will not be. My vote is strictly for the students and the budget. Thank you.
Mrs. Combs.
None at this time.
Mr. Lippert.
Other than welcoming the new staff, teachers and staff that came in during the summer, I really look forward to meeting everybody. I will walk around as much as I possibly can. Last month, I already said how excited I am to see the new seniors, the new juniors. I'm really excited about the start of the new year, fresh faces, new curriculum to get into place. Man, it's gonna be a good time. I'm looking forward to it.
So I'm going to reiterate or replicate some of Mr. Lippert's comments. So I too am very excited about the new school year. You know, starting school was always a cool time for me when I was a kid. I know there are lots of kids that are like, "Oh, I want to go back to school." I loved it. And I think it's an exciting time. And I have really high hopes for not just our new staff, but all of our staff. And, you know, we have the ballot question coming up that I'm pretty excited about as well, and have the highest hopes for that. And I think we are, I think we're really heading in the right direction, and I'm pretty happy about it. One other comment that I have was last month we discussed as a board about revisiting the academic calendar. And I said I would put that on the agenda when I got specific recommendations from anyone on the board. I have not received any specific recommendations, so it's not on the agenda for whomever is at home keeping track and holding me to the fire. He said he was going to do this. He didn't do this. I qualified. All right, that's all I have. Mr. Superintendent, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Board President. Thank you, Board. I'd like to welcome Tim Huffman, our new maintenance manager, maintenance director, and Sean Almeida has come back and has rejoined us. We're excited to have both of them here, and we're looking forward to hiring some more people. I would like to respond about the budget. I hold that in my heart as well, and I appreciate the comments, and I want to reassure not only the board and the community that we hold this fiscal responsibility to our hearts, and we understand the responsibility, and we will not waste this community's funds in any way, shape, or form. It is not an intention to increase the number of chiefs. It is an intention to expand the resilience in our administrative staff, to try to train from within, and to ensure that we're always ready in case anything should happen, to ensure continuity for our students. To that end, I also want to give a state of the district address, so feel free to take notes. Happy to answer any questions when we get done here. I'll try to make this as brief as possible.
And you're going to discuss what's in the board packet, section 6, as well as some other things,
We
right?
will get there, yes.
Okay.
That's a part of my superintendent comments. And I'll ask for that to be brought up on the screen. Okay, no worries. I'll ask, not yet. I'll ask for it here in just a moment. So the school starts on August 9th for grades 1 through 12, August 11th for kindergarten, September 6th for our pre-K. New staff will report on August 1st, just a little over a week away, for HR and orientation. All of the rest of our staff will convene for an all-district PD on that Tuesday, August 2nd. And then the 3rd through the 5th, we will have building level PD and time for teachers to prepare in their rooms. We have spent the summer migrating data from Easy School to our new student information system, Alma. I'd like to give a special thanks to Brittany, Maggie, and Lori for their efforts in making that as seamless as possible. In addition, staff and students should begin receiving invites to a new communications tool, an app called Parent Square. We are in the process of crafting a new communications plan, and part of it will be rolling out these new tools in an attempt to create a closer relationship with our parents, students, staff, and community. In the food service, we are fully staffed, and we're in the 2nd year of our CEP program. While we will not be charging students, we will still require financial forms for CDE purposes. It's important to understand that our at-risk funding is dependent upon those federal forms being filled out. And so it's going to be a part of all of our enrollment and athletic packets. And we're going to ask for those to be filled out one way or another. We're working on getting some electrical issues ironed out at PHE. We should have electricians there today. Food service had an excellent review from CDE regarding the operation of our food service program. I got a special email from them explaining how amazing Melissa and her staff are. So a special thank you to Miss Melissa for that and to her staff. Our business office is also fully staffed. They're working on updating HR folders. In order to increase our hiring footprint, we're going to use some grant money and some budget funds to use a new recruitment tool that is used by other school districts around Colorado. This is also where CDE sends people who are curious about teaching. And it also includes other district positions such as custodians and bus drivers. In addition, we're reaching out to the Ranchland News for helping getting the word out. In addition to all of the banners we posted on buses and around the district. Operations is also working hard to get district schools ready in time for students. We are down one custodian, although we can function with one short, we're still recruiting. If anybody knows anyone who's interested, we would love to have them. Our new maintenance director, Tim Huffman, welcome, has jumped right in. We're trying to nail down some final needs for the lights in order to get them turned on. We have our chillers being inspected and serviced tomorrow. He's working on getting a schedule up and running for all of our mechanicals for preventative service. In addition, he's working on a schedule for heating and cooling in the buildings in order to save money when the buildings are unoccupied. He's already reprogrammed the gym and cafeteria. The gym had its temperature turned down, and he caught that and has implemented and started using the carrier program to start managing those. Prairie Heights is still looking for 2 intermediate teachers. We're exploring all options, but Ms. Cheeseman does have a plan in place to cover the classes while we continue looking for excellent staff to join our team. We have a long-term sub that we can pull into a classroom who has passed their elementary praxis. In addition, we have an interventionist who has taught elementary before. So PHE will be ready to go. The preschool is still looking for a para, but we are hopeful that they will work together and actually be able to combine and use one or more para professionals. I know that some of you saw that Wigwam put out a water quality alert. We want to reassure our student, staff, parents that the reverse osmosis filters that we have in there for the drinking water are doing their job in keeping the water pure. And operations and maintenance are inspecting and making sure that those are being changed regularly. The junior senior high school is in need of an art STEAM teacher, a PE teacher, and possibly we would prefer a middle school ELA teacher. We have plans to cover those positions. We actually have middle school covered already, but it would be nice to add to free up some additional electives. And we believe we can have the art teacher covered. Our new music teacher does have an art background as well. So we have that covered, but again, it comes down to electives and making sure that we're not just covering the core and some of our art and music. We'd like to have a more robust elective offering. Yes.
So all these positions that you're saying we don't have people for currently, they were budgeted for.
Yes.
Okay.
So at the money you're saving money. But not in the place you wanted it to be. I know. We also have our PE teacher. Mr. Koopman does have plans to make sure that that's covered. We're looking at a number of different ways to cover that PE position. It's still being advertised. So if you know someone who's interested as well. Our fall sports are covered. We have our volleyball and our football covered. We are posting today, tomorrow for the basketball position. And we were waiting to see if we had teachers that wanted to fill that spot, but we haven't filled it yet. So we're going to be posting that. I know some of the board had asked about the basketball position specifically.
Coach Decker's not to keep him?
We're not sure if he wants to be the head coach. I assume he will still want to be the assistant. We've asked him. That's still not for sure one way or the other.
And that's gonna go out on LinkedIn or,
It would go out on Indeed, and we're
Indeed.
hopeful that it will
Sorry,
go
Indeed.
out on, it'll be on our website as well, so that they can get there. Transportation. This is an area where we are really struggling to get applicants. We're still looking for 2 to 3 CDL drivers and a van driver. We've reached out to the local CDL schools, both of them, and told them what our needs are. We're recruiting our current employees and our coaches to see if they might be interested in earning some pay. If I've got any teachers, any staff listening, this could be worth up to an extra $1,600 a month for you. I mean, it's a fairly good chunk of change if you wanted to do a morning and an afternoon run. Otherwise, we could split that up into halftime, that type of thing.
An extra 1,600, where is it?
Well, I took it at 6 hours a day at $16 an hour times 4 days times 4 weeks.
You don't work 60 hours a day. I didn't know if you're making special arrangements for.
No, I wasn't. I'm just going off the information that I was told. See if they're interested. One of the issues that we're having, we do have some people that are out there trying to get scheduled to take the test for their CDL. And they're having a very hard time getting an appointment to go in and take the test.
With DMV.
With the DMV. So to that end, I reached out to the governor's office. And I wanted to see what he intends to do if we can't get drivers, because his department isn't scheduling tests. I let him know, no pun intended, that I wouldn't throw him under the bus now, but that I do know a reporter for Fox 31 that I imagine would be happy to have a conversation with me if I can't get kids to school come August. So I have one of our rural school lobbyists is meeting with the governor's office next week. And we are giving him that information that apparently his El Paso County DMV just doesn't want to schedule CDL tests. Because we do have a couple of people that are.
They don't want to
interested.
schedule anything.
I know.
Do it over line, do it on the computer. They don't want to see you in their office.
I understand that. So we're gonna try to see what's going on there, because we need CDL. I mean, we have a school district that'll do our training. We have another school district that'll do our testing. We need the test to be given to get the permit. And that's what we're struggling with right now. One of the things we're struggling with. We do have a couple of plans in place if we need to. We have some runs we can combine. The worst case scenario would be to shift start times at the schools to make sure that we're covered, and we could do that and still get coverage. We don't want to do that though, because that means that one of the 2 schools is not getting out till 5 o'clock. And that's late. I mean, you would think that you would go with the high school on that, but now you're saying that practice doesn't start till 5, and we don't want that to happen. So then it's really sticky. So we don't want to do that. I do have all administrators and directors, including myself, will be taking the transportation test. And if we need to break up runs into small vehicles and we're the ones that are taking kids home and picking them up, then we'll be the ones that are doing that until we can get things covered, because we're going to make sure kids get there. And that's our job. Buses have been serviced. They're all ready to go. I've been assured that they will be ready for the new year. We do still have a bus that's waiting for parts. I think the other one is I'm being told is coming in. That should be ready. So
3 and 12.
I heard 12, but I think 3's coming back. In addition, we're bringing back the health fair. 9 News is coming down on September 25th from 8 to noon. We are going to do a 9 News Health Fair. We're going to have breakfast and lunch for volunteers, snacks for those who have their blood drawn. The blood draw is going to cost $45, but we're going to have vouchers for those who cannot pay. In addition, we will be hosting a craft fair and a rummage sale in conjunction with the Parks Board with this health fair event. The school administrative teams, along with the business manager and myself, will be attending an SCAP training next Monday and attending the CASE conference next week. We look forward to sharing the latest educational and administrative techniques with our staff during staff development the first week of August. And now, for what you've all been waiting for, we are going to go over our school data for the spring. So I want to preface this with, we don't have our CMAS results yet. We normally get those the last week of July, first week of August, and then we normally have our performance framework sometime in September. So as soon as I get our CMAS results, I will let you know. We good? So we're going to start with our SAT and PSAT score comparisons. If you take a look at the class of 22, that's the class that just graduated. You can see that the overall scores, and I'm just going to go over the overall. If you want to look at the reading and the math individually, you can. They started with their future day in the fall of 2020 at 858. And then the one that was reported to colleges was 897. That was in April. Their future day, which was fall of 2021, was 893. This current year seniors, they started the after COVID. So future day, fall of 2020. Well, that was actually before COVID, was 842. You saw a drop back for spring of 2021 last year. And then this past year in the fall, they had an 813 composite, and they increased that pretty substantially back up to 848 for the spring. For our class of 2024, that's this year's juniors. They're back in 2020, they were at 796. You saw them in the spring of 2021, which was last year, at 833. In the fall, they went up to 846, and then their composite as sophomores jumped up to 887. That was a pretty strong increase. And of course, we only have two marks, the fall and the spring, for our 9th graders, which will be sophomores this year. 814 in the fall, and they boosted that to 823 in the spring. For our NWEA scores, thank you. We did this 2 ways, guys. So if you take a look at these scores, it has all 4 of our scores. The ones that are blank, either they were too small to actually give us a composite score for that grade level, or they didn't take the test. So as you take a look, the top row is cohorted. So what that means is you see the first grade score. If you were to go up to the top, you see the first grade score for spring of 21 last year. And then if we gave these growth numbers spring to spring, so spring of last year to spring of this past year, and it followed them. So what you're seeing is spring of first grade, and then they went to 2nd grade, and then spring for 2nd grade, right? And you can see the amount of growth that each one of them made in their cohort. We do have one that stands out, which is our current seniors, our 11th grade, right? Can you go back? But if you take a look at their SAT scores, you saw that they increased them. So we're not sure if that was just maybe some test fatigue, that they just weren't really interested, right? Okay, we can go back again. The bottom one is an apples to apples, oranges to oranges kind of a comparison, right? So these are the same. So you take a look at, say, first grade. You see first grade last year to first grade this past year. You see what I'm saying? You see second grade to second grade, third grade to third grade. We saw an increase across the board in every grade level. We had higher scores spring of 2022 than we had in spring of 2021 in every grade level, in every subject. They scored higher than the previous year in that grade level.
Why do you think so?
Because we have fantastic staff and administrators. That's what I think.
Great, but I disagree.
Why do you think?
COVID slapped the crap out of us.
I don't
that spring.
disagree.
That
Absolutely.
spring was terrible,
I would like to point out, we were
But-
gone for 3 weeks over Thanksgiving this year as well.
but I agree with you. Our teachers picked it up and
They did.
brought them up this year.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to bringing this up even more. I actually ran an actual kind of a, NWA gives the number of points that you should go up every year that they expect for each grade level, and it's different. I will tell you, for reading and math, we hit every grade growth that was expected. In fact, some of them were substantially higher. And the ones that were not, that we didn't meet, we only missed by 1 point, which is within the statistical
Yeah.
deviation. Only missing that by 1 point, it's within statistical realm that they probably made it as well. So I've got 2 amazing principals. I've got a staff of amazing teachers, and we're very excited moving forward this year to see some really good numbers. I would expect next board meeting, I should have the CMAS numbers, and we're hopeful to see what those look like. And then maybe in August, but probably not until September, maybe even October. You can't tell when the performance framework is going to come out, but I'll share that with you guys as well when we
Thank
see
you.
that. Sir,
So, question on your top row, 10th to 11th has red across the board. Specifically in reading, that's the 1 double digit.
correct.
What's the statistical significance of that? I mean, what's the explanation behind that?
Well, sometimes you have a grade that doesn't get there. We're going to work with them this year. That's this year's seniors.
Right.
I will tell you that we are going in with these 11th grade, these 12th graders, with more of the students that have passed the reading and math proficiency for graduation than we had coming in with this past year's seniors. So I believe that they have it. Whether they focused on it, didn't focus on it, I don't know. I know that you can take a look at their reading, and you're right. It also, we didn't see enough of a growth there either. So I'm hopeful we'll see some more, because I mean, we saw the growth in the other 3 grades, so it's not the
Right.
teacher, right? It's the same teacher that taught the other 3 grades as well. So I just expect that there might just be a little bit of a,
You're being nice. bro.
I'm not trying to be anything about it. I'm just
If
saying.
you knew the students, Randy, you wouldn't ask the question.
All right, but see, that would have been the short answer.
But it's a
Wait a
fact.
minute, I know what,
But it's a fact. You gotta know who's in what class.
I know what grade that is now. Yeah.
Bingo. It's the
All
one
right.
we've always had trouble with
Yep.
since they come out of Prairie Heights.
Yep.
It's-
Yep.
But this year they're going to do better.
And it's not that they can't do better,
Correct.
and not that they're not smart.
Correct.
That group, since 5th grade, has been,
But we love them.
oh,
Just the same.
absolutely. I do all of them. But since 5th grade, that group's been little terrors.
Yeah, I know exactly what grade you're talking about now.
I was waiting to see if he said anything about it, but yeah. They come up here in 6th grade. We had more fights up here than you can believe.
All right.
Do we have any questions? Anything else?
Have we had a lot of interest for those open positions?
Not as much as we would like. No. We're getting some out of state. I've gotten some from the Philippines.
Oh.
We are not paying relocation.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We had a
That's
teacher ask for relocation and I offered them to drive a bus to help them out. Whatever we can
Where they
do.
at? We'll pick them up. bring 'em. You said that the gymnasium, you're adjusting the power and all this stuff. I thought we had a contract with that guy to do all this stuff.
But it has to be run. It has to be managed.
Well, I thought he had it all set up and was doing that where it was.
I
Who's that?
I don't know. It was
that
during your-
carrier program
Yeah,
for the
that-
heating and cooling.
Yeah.
Carrier program is just as anything else. It's just a program.
It only works if it's being used.
It's the user controls. Nobody else does. So you have it on your phone or you go to the computer system and you control it.
Okay.
There's not a contractor out there that controls our temperatures.
No, but I
You
thought he
might
had
be
it set.
confused with somebody that was hired back then
No,
with the
not that,
first
not
name
that.
of Jim
Mm.
Hmm.
that constantly tried to tell us what our temperatures
Yeah.
needed to be.
Yeah.
But
No, see, I thought when we come in, did that carrier program, did all that, it was all set in the computer for the temperatures.
Still gotta
How to
follow up
get-
on
you have to.
Right, but
program
there's a,
Okay.
while school is in session, set of settings, and while school's out, set of settings. And you need to transition between the two, right?
I will tell you before
different
I got
sporting events, everything else.
before I got back here, Tim had already gotten in, logged in, and was working on getting that set up. So I was very pleased to see that before I'd even had a chance to give him direction.
Just please don't have it too hot in there during volleyball season, please.
I don't think, I don't know if it's possible to make that gym cool enough during the game.
For practice.
You could
Especially when
have
there's
that,
fans in there.
you could have the doors open, fans on, and the air conditioner kicking, and that
I meant,
gym is
I
gonna
meant
be
like
hot.
spectators.
Hey, Randy, I want to do one more comment, sorry.
Sure.
Miss Jody, I would like to thank you for volunteering to drive the preschool bus to take kids home since we're short on drivers. I really appreciate that.
Aw. That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Heard you're getting your CDL back and everything.
She said
Ashley
no.
said,
Oh, I too remember middle school. All right, is that it, sir?
That's all I have for now.
All
All
right.
right.
as a
Thank you.
quick
You
question,
want another
on that,
alibi? Oh, go ahead.
quick question, where are we standing on a new bus? We
Yeah,
approved the
isn't
new
there
bus,
supposed to be a
right?
new bus coming in this year?
Did we already go out
We
for
had
it, or are we
two.
looking
I
for it,
thought
or?
one was-
We have not. We have not gone to bid on that yet.
Okay,
Ah.
I'm just excited to see another bus.
If,
That's cool.
but we would like a new bus. We still have some money set aside that we can use for a new bus.
Well, we approved a new bus.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We-
Down
we-
from two.
We
Yeah, down to
want,
two.
we want to, I would really like to get to October count, just to make sure that we are in the right position, or at least get close to October count so that we know. I'd like to see our count. If we could see our count.
Right.
We got enough drivers.
I
for
believe
one
we're
route.
gonna have plenty to go that route. But I wanna see butts and seats. And then I wanna know what we have.
Do we have enough running buses right now for the routes we need?
Yes.
Yeah. We do.
All right, anything else? Comments? Last call?
I think that's, I've never heard of the staff, senior staff wanting to do the buses until we find a replacement. I thought that was very creative. That would
Yeah.
be, that would set a standard. If we see a superintendent out there driving
It'll be
a
the
van
night
or a-
ride. It'll be the night, the afternoon.
whatever
Yeah,
it is,
whatever
we
it
see
takes. 'Cause
that.
the mornings
that's
are
setting the
covered, so they wouldn't
stage
have
for
to come
people
in
to
earlier.
jump on it.
Yeah.
I think that was thinking outside the box. I think that was a great idea.
Yep. Great.
All right. Anything else on comments? Okay, that brings us to 7.0 DAC report. I did not see a DAC report. I'm assuming they did not have a meeting.
I think they said last time we went.
Okay, fair enough. That brings us to discussion item 8.1 master plan status.
Did all the board members see the updated one that came in at 5 o'clock today?
I didn't have a
did.
chance to review it.
The only thing that was
Sent out at
added was a
5:30.
survey analysis. So it actually showed the online survey and the mailed survey. They combined those. They gave an analysis and kind of an explanation from a demographer's point of view. Look, this wasn't planned on being in there. He got it to me, so I put it out. This isn't the final that we're voting on, but it is something that if you wanted to look at, I would encourage you to kind of review it. I thought that he made some pretty interesting points. And that
was
would be
interesting.
8.1C.
Mhm.
The whole presentation was interesting.
So the way it's looking right now, we have a 62% support for some kind of a bond, either with or without a best grant match.
Really?
We have 24% that say they don't know or don't have an opinion. And then we have 14% that they do not support a bond of any kind. So that's favorable numbers. So what the superintendent and I have been working on the past couple of weeks is trying to formulate the language for the bond question. If you're going to scroll down to page 29, or it's listed as page 30 in the overall count. Yeah, you can throw it up if you want. So there's, I think maybe Kyle, we just need to have a Zoom meeting with these guys. So I can more accurately ask them the question that I want to ask.
Which guys?
The bond, whoever's writing the bond. link.
So we have RBC Capital. They're the ones that fund the bond, and
Right.
that's Dan O'Connell. We have Butler Snow, Kim Crawford. She's the one who actually wrote the current bond question, and she wrote kind of a temporary one here that I can share whenever with members of the board so they can see it.
Well, I think we need to craft it and bring it forward for a vote.
Right.
next week.
Well, we have Garrett, who actually came up with the dollar figure based on what
Right.
the current numbers are, but we
Right.
don't know what they'll be when they go. And so I guess we can do whatever y'all want to do. I mean, I can reach out to them and yeah, I mean, just tell me who you want to talk to and we can, and when you want to do it.
I have a question that I've tried to put down with the typing, and it just doesn't come out right when I get done typing it. It makes perfect sense in my brain. And then when my fingers hit the keyboard, it just doesn't come out right.
I'm
So,
sure Kim and or Dan would both be happy to just talk.
Okay. So let's try to set something up in the next couple of weeks. And
Where'd you say that language was?
it's on, so
29.
page number 29 on the document, but it's page count 30 of 37. That's where. I think if we have a really strong information campaign, we could probably get that number over 70%. Maybe as high as 75.
It would be nice, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, filling out a survey and filling out a ballot are two different things.
They are.
So I was not planning on going through the entirety of the master plan. We've seen all of this data before except this one page, but this is the time if we want to talk about, we do have a vote coming up at 9.3 to commit to an election or tentatively commit to an election. Until we send the final language of the ballot question to the county, it's not official because we can pull out until that point. So we can talk more about it later if you want to talk about it later or now. We have 2 agenda items.
Later's fine.
It's pretty straightforward.
All right, anything else on 8.1?
Yes, sir.
All right, that brings us to 9.1, policy DJA, purchasing authority, second read. Do I have a motion to approve 9.1?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you,
Second
Mr.
it.
Lippert. Thank you, Mr. Swayze. Discussion. So this is the 12.5 unbudgeted spending authority of the superintendent no more than twice a year. Talked about this quite a bit. Any questions, further comments, discussion?
Nope.
Call for the vote, please, sir.
Ms. Combs,
Aye.
Mr. Lippert, aye. Mr. Swayze,
Aye.
Mr. Underwood.
Aye, motion carries. Policy DJA is approved. Brings us to 9.2 policy reviews. Do I have a motion to approve 9.2?
I'll make a motion. to approve.
Second it.
Thank you, Mr. Lippert and Mr. Swayze. As always, this is 15 of the oldest policies that need review. No changes other than the review date.
And it just so happened to coincide with all the
We're all staff. I thought that
Yeah.
was interesting, right?
Yeah.
new employee handbook and all that
Yeah,
stuff, because it all had to do with it.
Yeah. I even went and I'm like, wait a minute, that number's not right in the employee handbook. And so I went back to the policy and I'm like, no, she's right.
I noticed it was bounced back and forth. I did the same comparison, yes.
So that's good. Our policy and handbook align. That's excellent. Any other further discussion on policy reviews? Call for the vote, please, sir.
Ms. Combs,
Aye.
Mr. Lippert, aye. Mr. Swayze,
Aye.
Mr. Underwood.
Aye, motion carries. Policy reviews are approved. Brings us to 9.3, master plan, Prairie Heights expansion way forward. Do I have a motion to approve 9.3?
Make a motion to approve 9.3.
Thank you, Mr. Swayze. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Combs. So the motion on the table is to direct the district election official to positively reply to the county to indicate that we are going to have a tax-related ballot question. Yes.
And then we're still going to formulate this question, or has it already been?
No,
No, we
we
gotta formulate.
need to formally
Okay.
vote. We have to actually pass a resolution,
Okay, that's what I
formal
have.
language.
Okay.
But that's not due until September. So hopefully my plan is to try to have that language 100% dialed in and us vote on it at the next board meeting, next regular board meeting. That's the plan.
Since the meeting with.
Yes. I can send it to you guys, but
And they're gonna help you formulate the measure, right?
yes,
Put on the, it's gonna
Yes.
be everybody, all of them, okay.
yeah. And then
That's what
we're
I
all
was
gonna
asking
vote on it
about.
and you guys are gonna have,
And then we'll,
the minute
Okay.
I think that it's ready for prime time, I'm gonna send it to the whole board for your guys' feedback. Because I don't want to show up at the August board meeting, having it be basically the first time you see it. So check your
Good.
email in between now and then.
sounds good.
Anything else on master plan?
No.
No, sir.
Call for the vote, please, sir.
Ms. Combs,
Aye.
Mr. Lippert, aye. Mr. Swayze,
Aye.
Mr. Underwood.
Aye, motion carries. That should be your direction, Mrs. Petrikaitis. All right, next up is 9.4 policy GASP armed staff, second read. Do I have a motion to approve 9.4?
Make a motion to approve 9.4.
Thank you, Ms. Combs. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Swayze. Discussion.
We already beat this to death.
Yeah.
Mr. Lippert has. clarity.
The part that talks about a board member,
Mhm,
but has to work for the school.
mhm. It can only be an employee. It can't be like me.
What?
So Mrs.
one-
Combs could do it.
Bus
One
drivers
time, I
can do
think it even said board members couldn't carry if they come to the board meeting.
Oh, maybe that was our first iteration.
Yeah, you remember that?
I'm just saying, every game, every activity we do, there's board members.
Usually, yeah. But
If you're not
But the
employed,
insurability
there
standards
you go.
prevent us from having a board member do it if they're only a board member. They have to be an employee.
Because otherwise
And some.
you're
way.
actually a paid security. It changes the
I
category.
understand.
Right.
Yeah,
And then the premiums affected the standards actually for a private security officer versus armed staff are different. And our policy doesn't have those additional things in it. So that has to be the rule. I mean, we can go and overhaul the policy. And we could basically, on a case by case basis, have anybody, not just board members, do
Right,
it, but
right.
that will change our policy and insurability.
It was
and-
just a question thrown out there. I understand the legalities of it. We're good.
I got a question then though.
Sir,
If, let's say you have a sub. They're employed by us.
they are a temporary employee according to the employee handbook I just read.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
So let's say a sub bus driver or a sub teacher, they can actually be one.
As long as they go through everything.
Yeah,
Right.
long-
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
That has to be.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to make sure.
That's correct.
I'm good with the policy.
Anything else? Call for the vote, please, sir.
Ms. Combs,
I,
Mr. Lippert, aye. Mr. Swayze,
Aye.
Mr. Underwood.
Aye, motion carries. Policy GASP is approved. Brings us to 9.5 Education Workforce Program GEPA Assurances. Do I have a motion to approve 9.5?
Make a motion to approve 9.5.
Thank you, Mr. Swayze. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Lippert. Mr. Superintendent, sir.
Yeah, this is just the federal assurances for a grant that we've already talked about. They just need approval and the board president will need to sign it. So that's why it's on.
Is
It's
this,
the standard federal.
is this a
Assurance.
work program like we were discussing with partners?
No, this
That's not the
is,
CTE portion.
yeah,
we're
this isn't,
talking about
that's a
here.
different one.
Okay,
This one's for our staff
okay,
retention. Yeah,
okay. I had CTE in my head, I think, when I was reading this.
Mhm.
Okay. good to
I
go.
did too. There's so many of them. They're labeled so close that, yeah,
Yeah.
I have trouble keeping. them
And the
straight
actual
sometimes.
languages of the assurances are basically all identical.
We're not gonna discriminate.
Yeah.
We're gonna make
Right.
sure it goes where it says it's gonna go.
Anything else? Call for the vote, please, sir.
Ms. Combs,
I,
Mr. Lippert, aye. Mr. Swayze,
Aye.
Mr. Underwood.
Aye, motion carries. The GEPA assurances are approved. That brings us to 9.6 Policy JLCD Temporary Approval First Read. Do I have a motion to approve 9.6?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Thank you, Mr. Lippert. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Swayze. Mr. Superintendent, I'll let you drive this.
All righty. So we have been approved by the Colorado Department of Public Health for them to issue a prescription for Narcan, naloxone. This is the anti-OD drug where if someone,
We need that out here.
yeah.
With fentanyl,
that's the problem.
one pill will kill you.
Well,
And,
yeah,
and I'm going to steal the superintendent's.
Go ahead.
thunder. Strongly recommended by our SRO,
yes.
this policy change.
Fentanyl
And
is everywhere. One
Here's
pill-
the thing.
Why?
Somebody slips it into a teacher's drink. Somebody slips it into a student's drink. What the cartels are doing is they're mixing this fentanyl in with other stuff that you might buy and you don't even know it's there. Or they call it something else and they're trying to hook you on. Here's the problem.
Does
way-
Narcan work for fentanyl?
Yes,
That's
it's,
for
it's,
everything.
the opioid goes to the
Everything.
opioid receptor in your brain. It basically shuts everything down. What Narcan does is it slips in between so the opioid can't connect to those receptors in your brain. And I was talking to our nurse Peggy, and she will be the one who is in charge of storing it, keeping it locked, training staff. But the way it works, and she said there was, when she was working in the ER, there was a biker who was dead on the table from an overdose. Hit him with it, and the biker just sat up like, what did you just do to me? It's that kind of a response. And so I don't want our staff to be in a position of having to just watch somebody die. I don't want our students to be in a position of watching someone die when we have an opportunity to ensure at least we have a shot, right? We've done everything we can. And I don't want them to have to live with that and see that happen. Now, I'm not saying we have a problem with it. I will tell you, I sent dogs through the school last year. Not one hit. So no, but what if? Or what if somebody brings something they don't even, hey, I've got a headache. Well, take this, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't even have to be intentional. It can be accidental. I want us to have that opportunity because the state has stepped in. They've agreed that we can do it. They've agreed that they take away our liability for giving it. They've agreed to provide it. They've agreed to, right? So this was brought to my attention by our SRO, saying he's seeing it at a neighboring school district.
The numbers
it
are
needs
going
to-
up. And I'm
They
trying
are.
to do the research right now.
Are
The
they?
number
You're
of
looking at it.
teenagers dying of fentanyl overdoses a day.
Right.
This is.
And at the end of the day, right, the only, what do you want to say, difficulty on our side is storage and control. If we never need it, we never break it out, we never
There you
use
go.
it, that'd be fantastic.
You can't OD on it and it can't hurt you and it can't, right? You can't it's not something that you can abuse. So, I mean, there's nothing
And this can be controlled by the nurse in her lockable cabinet and everything like that.
at both places. And then she'll delegate people within the school district and train them to use it if necessary.
She's not gonna be there all the time.
Well, she's going to be full-time with us, but she may not be at each school all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's why she's got to train.
You gotta
staff.
have
That's why you have to train somebody who's there. Yes,
This is a sad reality.
it
of,
is.
You know,
a
where we're
sad
at in the
reality.
world. I never thought I would see it, but
Yeah.
like you said, we have to protect what's out there. I mean, if you touch it, you can, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah.
dangerous. Like,
It's ridiculous.
yeah, that's what I've seen. And
And
people are
dropping
picking
it
them
on the
up.
ground.
That was on
Yeah.
the news just this morning, I thought.
Yeah. It's so sad, you know, and
Within
as a
hours, she was in
parent,
the ER.
I would rather us have it and not need it, or have it if we do need it. Because
Coke on
accidents
your dollar
happen,
bill
you know,
at the check.
everything happens, things happen, but I guess it's just sad that this is what it's came to.
I can see.
And that's the shock factor of like, even out here, like what? But it is everywhere.
Of course.
Yeah, and the superintendent will oversee that decision.
And if the SRO, you know, is for it and he knows, and I will go with the professionals on this one.
All right, anything else? Call for the vote, please, sir.
Ms. Combs,
I,
Mr. Lippert, aye, Mr. Swayze,
Aye.
Mr. Underwood.
Aye, motion carries. JLCD is approved. Brings us to 9.7 handbooks. Do I have a motion to approve 9.7?
Make a motion to approve 9.7.
Thank you, Mr. Swayze. Do I have a second?
have a second.
Thank you, Mrs. Combs. So there are 3 handbooks here. This is the
Four.
Miscounted. Parent, student, staff, transportation,
Preschool.
and preschool. Yes.
Anything
Preschool-
from the preschool makes me so happy, just seeing like the fun bee right on the front, like, I want to go back there.
They are required to
I
have
love
their own
it.
handbook now. And especially as we're moving into this new,
It's just because of the nature. I mean, the kids.
Yes, it's
They're-
just so
they're
fun,
awesome.
and they're
That's-
like innocent,
I
and you
love
know,
it.
there's no
I love
eye
it.
rolling, and oh,
I love it every
I have a
time.
high
And we're
school.
probably not gonna have to give a pre-K student Narcan.
Yeah,
God
Lord,
willing.
hope not.
Jody's
But
got the
those
best
seat-
job in the district.
So I previously read through all these and forwarded my questions and comments and gotten answers. So
I already read it.
I'm good.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm good. I read it too. I didn't see anything.
I would still like us to look into, because these are, we can change these at will.
Correct.
Still like us to look into life insurance for everybody.
We're already doing that.
That's not in this handbook. For benefits, for the
I
I'll
went and looked
reread
at
that one.
I,
So I did not see that. And I'd really like to see PTO for, bus drivers. That's just my one person would like to.
With the exception of life insurance
So
for
this is the
everyone working
exception.
over 20
the board
hours.
has approved for the district to pay for life insurance for all employees working over 20 hours per week.
Oh. Thank you. I didn't see that. Appreciate it. That's great, because one thing that COVID did prove
Mhm.
to us, we're not taking care of our people.
And I don't have
Drive
a
a bus
problem.
1 second, 6 hours later, they're dead,
Mhm.
and we gave them nothing.
I don't have any problem. If you want to change benefits, I strongly recommend that we look at that and bring it up for a vote. You're never gonna find me arguing against something for our people.
The only thing I have, and this might seem silly to a lot of people, but I hear it a lot from my daughter, is leggings. It says no leggings.
You gotta understand why. You gotta understand why, because I'll tell you where that came from. That was from me. When I have a teacher in the 6th and 7th and 8th grade class, teacher with leggings so tight, I could see what she had for breakfast. No.
What about students?
Then she has to have something over them. If they wear them so tight, you can see everything. You can count the hairs.
I like leggings,
No,
the
no, no,
t-shirt
no,
though,
no,
is that
no. allowed?
I'm telling you, it's
I mean, I don't know.
disgusting. You don't want to, no.
You're
So this
talking,
is for, I'm talking about the student handbook.
you're talking mid-thigh.
I'm talking about like long
Leggings.
leggings, like all the way down to your legs.
No,
like,
no, and I'm talking about coverage down to the mid-thigh.
Oh, coverage down to the
That's,
mid-thigh.
that's why
Yeah,
you
okay.
can have leggings.
Just like with the oversized shirt. or
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
have to have
You have to have a
an
covering.
appropriate
Okay.
coverage down.
Yeah, and that is. in
That's
there.
why we don't allow rips and tears above
No.
that mid-thigh.
Well,
area.
I believe, I agree with that. And I agree,
Yeah,
the
that's
shorts,
why-
and I agree with the 4 inches. It
Yeah.
was just,
It's nothing saying you can't have leggings. Leggings are approved. It's just that them by themselves, no,
okay,
no.
okay,
And that was because of the teacher.
okay. I just know that
Hey,
is a big
I'm-
argument within my household. My daughter is like,
no.
oh my gosh.
I'll be
And
the
I'm
one to
like-
tell you, I'm the one that fought for that. And I said, no, because I didn't appreciate her in the classroom with them young boys who were
I
seniors this year. That was disgusting.
can see that.
My read is that it's
Yeah, it says
it's
unless,
not just like,
They
if
have
you're
to
just
have
walking
coverage.
around
Yeah,
with
cool.
leggings,
Yeah.
that's not.
it's very
No,
clear. It says
cool.
unless accompanied by clothing.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so like a sweater, t-shirt, whatever, like oversized,
Exactly.
I got
Cover
it.
up,
Gotcha.
yes.
And it says in there, the superintendent and principals make that decision with what is inappropriate.
Okay. I mainly needed clarification so I can win the argument with my daughter. To be perfectly honest.
She don't wear anything.
No, I won't.
inappropriate.
Last year I was like, no leggings to school, none. And she's like, high school, duh. And I was just like, kid. And so at the end, I was like, if you wear leggings, you gotta wear like an
Something to
oversized
cover,
t-shirt.
yes.
So I just needed clarification that I was right.
Oh, okay.
Because if I don't get it from like professionals, sometimes she looks at me like I'm crazy. Like, you're just my mom. You don't know nothing.
You want me to tell Ashley Catherine?
You only set district policy, but hey.
You know.
I get that. I get that. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
All right.
That's all.
Anything else on the handbooks?
No, they look really good. Very thorough.
The only comment I would have is, actually I have two. Like every time when we do reference a policy, I know in some places it's in there, there's a parenthetical stating the
Mhm.
policy. I just would like more, that should be the standard everywhere in those that we do that. I'm not saying change them now, and I'm not saying we're not gonna.
I hear that.
Just future work moving forward.
I think it's great because it makes sure that our people understand that this isn't just something made up by.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Pat
The
just didn't sit down at her
administrators, this is-
computer one day and
This actually is
magically make something
referencing
up
this
and-
policy. Sure, I think
Right.
that's a good
And
idea.
my only other comment would be, more of a kind of sort of consistent format template kind of a thing.
We can
That's
work
just,
on that.
that's just me and my brain, that's all.
I hear that. I hear that.
You can completely discard it. I'm 1 of 5, so. Anything else?
Nope.
Call for the vote, please, sir.
Ms. Combs,
I,
Mr. Lippert, aye. Mr. Swayze,
Aye.
Mr. Underwood.
Aye. Handbooks are approved. That brings us to 10.0, information updates. Ma'am,
I love them. I was looking forward to the new maintenance one, seeing if he kept the same format and the same updates. I liked it.
actually pared it down a little bit.
He did,
Yeah,
yes. And the request wasn't outrageous.
Mm.
So that was nice.
now, in that update, there were 2 6-digit requests. They're being, assuming we get the best grant, those are taken care of, correct?
Right, there were the bids on those 2 items.
Correct.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I actually talked to Iconergy about those. He said that those bids are for a lower rate of equipment than they had in there, but that they do believe that with the pressures easing, that those prices would come down anyway.
Okay.
But yes, that is the goal. Absolutely.
Okay. Just to
Just
make
out
sure
of-
we're accounting for everything.
Out of curiosity, those items, we're still talking about a glycol-based system, right?
The new one?
I'd have to talk to Iconergy about that just to make sure.
So I think changing that to cool off of glycol would cost us a fortune, more than the fortune that's being proposed.
I
That glycol, I'm just not a huge, those
Understand.
pipes are just getting older and older.
yeah.
I do like that we got a communications update.
Mhm.
Like, I thought that was really cool. The more
There was a
updates
lot
we
of
get, the
information
better.
in there too.
There was, and
Yeah.
it was very.
It
like,
really
very
shows the
useful.
work that's being done, and I like that.
I just love updates. I think they're just the best darn part.
All right. Anything else on information updates?
No, it's very good. Thank you.
All right, that brings us to other business. Do we have any other business? So as an aside, I will say, if anyone on the board wants to participate in the Zoom meeting to help formulate the bond language question, I will send the invite out to everyone.
Yes,
So feel free
please
if
do.
you're available to attend. And that's all I have. Any other business?
I
All right.
look forward to
I'm
a great new
excited.
year.
I do too.
I really do. Those test
Yes.
scores were, I really enjoyed seeing those.
Yeah, it's good news.
Good things coming this year. I feel it.
Just that one.
I'm excited to see Miss Jody behind the wheel of the bus.
I just hate this because I can't see all the people.
It's on my list of things to fix.
I'm like, oh,
It's gonna be in the yearbook.
Everyone's faces.
Yeah, morning rounds, you got to cover.
There we
Oh,
go.
We should get bar stool heights
It's fun
chairs.
So whatever.
But then
we
our
need to do,
knees
we'll
big.
make it.
Yeah.
If we have to bring it up
Our
to
backs.
5.
Bring back
smalls
Miss
to get
Pam,
it
too.
home, we will.
Let's bring back Miss Pam.
I know, there's no way.
She's
Yeah.
enjoying her much needed
We
family
need to ask
time.
coaches to step in, 'cause
Awesome.
Is she going out to see
we said
Kyla?
maybe activities.
That's even better.
Just waiting on them.
That's even better. Okay, retirement is golden for her. She is in her golden years.
So, no, I'm scared of that.
Waiting on the chit chat.
But if we can get an assistant coach.
Gentlemen, can this be done offline afterwards?
Yeah.
Awesome, fabulous.
Well, it's important.
Just
You guys are
transportation.
you guys are
I'll make a
gathering.
motion to adjourn.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We are adjourned at 7:35 PM.
Put this down. Yeah.
No,
No.
ma'am, you're not correct.
Okay, Randy, you need to go see your grandson and get all talked out once a month.
I mean, I can
Oh.
get another.
That
I can get
way,
another
you
teacher,
don't have
another
nothing
body
to
of
say
parent
here.
In the bus. if
So,
they want.
Miss Jody, one time we did have a regular meeting.
Paid to drive. Once you
Oh,
get there, you
my,
stop. Now
one
you're
time we had a
coaching.
special.
No.
that was 110 seconds long. But regular, we have had a 45-minute board meeting.
I know you haven't.
You were not.
Yes. Hey, the assistant coach, and I heard someone say, but they're not ready. They don't